round 2 to come. As it stands, the Doha Falcons, perhaps somewhat surprisingly, find themselves in the virtual standings lead. They are ahead of Stars, powered by the Iron Dames, and Falcons United are somewhat of a surprise today. It's been a Tops Alexander with only a time penalty, and Oliver Lazarus, who comes in for his season debut today, goes on to have just one rail down to pick up a 4, and Falcons find themselves somewhat stuck on 5 in the middle of that, and still very much in the mix, I suppose. We spoke to Niels Braunseels earlier on today, who suggested that because of the difficulty, because of the challenges that have been set up by Gregory Bordeaux today, that maybe, just maybe, a winning score today here in Paris might be in and around the mark of 12 or so. And as it stands with Doha on 4, with Cannes on 4, it means that potentially, at least according to the perspective of Niels Braunseels, there will be penalties come, there will be fences that fall later on. Let's talk about the virtual ranking. If things were to end right now in Paris, as things stand, what does the overall championship table then begin to look like? Well, Stars would retake the championship lead. If you recall, they lost it to the Stockholm Hearts last stage in Cannes. So, if things were to remain the way they are now, Stars in second place would take back the championship lead. The Doha Falcons would climb quite handsomely up to third place. And Riesenbeck would leapfrog Madrid Emotion, who find themselves in a little bit of trouble today. There was 12 from Eduardo Alvarez Aznar and 8 from Roger Yves Bost in the first round. So they are on 20, and they would find themselves further down on the overall championship. Falcons United would make up some ground as well, and even the Mexico Amigos would find themselves moving up to 7th place. That is how the virtual standings look, with Prague Lions having difficulty, New York Empire taking 0 points, and the Shanghai Swans Scandinavian Vikings would continue to make up the bottom 2 positions on the overall rankings of the Global Champions League this season. The big talking point now then is who then has made what changes? How do the teams come out for Global Champions League round 2? That is the big question. And for that, we go to Frederick de Backer. We find out how the teams look and who has indeed made changes. Frederick, welcome back to the show. Global Champions League round 2 coming up in a few moments' time. Let's talk changes, my friend. Who has done what? Who is standing out?
Well, there's a lot happening. A lot has happened since we last spoke, Mark, since the end of round 1. Every team, every of those 14 teams have made horse or rider changes. A total of 20 changes have taken place. 4 new riders, 16 new horses. And there's a few surprises. Now, let's start at the bottom. The team that will start first, Shanghai Swans, bring in 2 very strong horses. Dexter de Klerken for Jean Sadran and, of course, Mandato van der Neerheide for Christian Amann. But is that going to be too little too late? I'm afraid so. Team comes in on 24. Who else? Rome Gladiators. I thought with the performance of Marco Kutscher that we would see Richard Howley come in, but no Richard Howley. It's only a horse change for Lorenzo De Luca. Riesenbeck, also remarkable. Riesenbeck International, powered by Kingsland after the clear of Harry Allen. Was it the 12 of Owen McMahon? One would think that McMahon would come off to be replaced maybe by Philip Schulte-Tophoff. It's actually the other way around. McMahon stays on. It's Harry Allen who comes off, and it is Schulte-Tophoff who joins the team. That means that Cornest and McMahon, who hadn't jumped a meter 55 class together just yet and had 12 in the first round, now will jump their first meter 60 class together in team duties with already all that added pressure. So that's, in my opinion, difficult to handle for Owen McMahon. If we go and look at Stars, it's somewhat surprising. I thought that Sophie Hinners stays on with the new horse that we don't know that well very yet. So there's no place apparently this weekend for Natalie Dean. The focus goes to Hinners and to Katin Eckermann, who brings in Kalamandia. Interesting, very, very strong lineup for round 2. We knew that it was going to happen with Stockholm Hearts powered by 89 We Love Horses. There's no Antoine Herman, but it's Katanga van het Dingeshof and Legend of Love. I mean, that is really ultimate horsepower for that second round of GCL. And what we already knew, what was discussed in the winner's interview, is that Jérôme Bierry stays on board for Doha Falcons, goes to Carrega LS Elite, and that Michael Pender replaces Julien Anquetin, and Pender does that with HHS Calais. But some remarkable choices. So no Howley, McMahon stays on, and Stockholm Hearts come out with the big guns.
I like that, Fred. Thank you. That is an absolutely excellent wrap and already big talking points for the post studio in GCL round 2. Did they or did they not do it correctly? And I think for Razorback International in particular, that for me is a really, really strange decision. One that maybe Ludger Biedebaum will either be crowned as a genius for later on, or questions will be asked as to how and why then we see McMahon stay on, Harry Allen and Calculatus jumping clear in GCL round 1. Speaking of Razorback International, powered by Kingsland, Dan Strange standing by alongside with Philip Schulzer-Topov, who jumps Carla in round 2.
Philip, you come in today for Razorback in this second round. The team, 12 faults so far. You've just walked the course. How did you see what Gregory Rose set for you?
I just walked the course, and I think, in my personal opinion, I like the course much better than the first one. Yeah, we have Owen in the team. He has his horse for not so long. They have not so much experience together. And yeah, I try to come in with Carla to support my team and to bring a good result home. And yeah, so far I look positive because, yeah, as I said, the course, I like it much better than the first one. And yeah, we will see how it comes.
We're right down here by the last fence, the 12th and last fence. Why is it you like this course more than the first course?
I think the rhythm is a bit better for me. I can start with a long way to find a good rhythm, and yeah, the fences and the lines, it's a little more smooth, I think. And yeah, in my opinion, I like the ways better. I talked to 2-3 other riders, and yeah, we all look positive.
The comment in our show a few moments ago was 12 faults could be the winning score, but obviously that means Razorback have to go double clear. Razorback have struggled with that this season. Cornest obviously struggled in the first round, coming back into it, so that's understandable. How realistic is it that you guys could go out and really do something here?
For sure, we have to go double clear. To be honest, I can judge nothing on Cornest because I don't know this horse. Yeah, and the other teams have to make faults, but I think to win with a score of 12 penalties could be difficult, yeah.
Philip, good luck. Go and get yourself ready, and thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Mark, back over to you.
Thank you very much, Dan Strange. Well, Philip Schulzer-Topov on the sidelines for round 1 now gets brought in for round 2. And as we said, question marks around the strategy, around the thinking behind Razorback International's lineup for round 2. Is it going to pay off? Well, we will find out a little bit later on. For now, we take a quick break. When we return, we find out from Fredrik de Backer what is lined up from Gregory Bordeaux for today's second round, and also then catch up with one of the teams inside the top 3 thus far in today's Global Champions League. That and more next on GCTV.
Elegance is an attitude. Of course it is. course it is.
Welcome back to GCTV. We are preparing for Global Champions League Round 2 in a few moments' time. The Shanghai Swans with Jean Sadran and Christian Allman, who both make horse changes, will be the first team to come out the gate in Round 2. The tractors are ready. Gregory Bordeaux is ready. The big question now is, are the riders ready for what has been designed here today? As usual, we take the opportunity to be joined once more by Fredrik de Backer. Fredrik, we had some wonderful comments from Niels Brunsheels reflecting on GCL Round 2. Made some suggestions then that it's going to be a little tricky in Round 2. Talk to me about what has been made for Round 2. Yes or no? Is Gregory Bordeaux dialing it up for the second round?
Well, height-wise, he's going to dial it up in any case, Mark. I mean, it's going to be 5 centimeters bigger. Now, I did hear from Brunsheels that round 1 wasn't overly big. It was mainly on the technicality and on the alternative, the choosing distances. Forward 7, waiting 8. What do you choose for? If you keep on waiting for, or you keep on choosing for the waiting distance, you get stuck everywhere. If you go for the forward distance everywhere, you get flatter. You have your fences at the end of the course. And then I hear Philipp Schütze-Tophoff say, well, I like this course better. Why does he like this course better? Let's have a look. The line 1-2 is actually very similar than the first line. That was positioned here. But now it's positioned here on top. It's again an option 8 or 9 strides. So that's pretty much very straightforward. Then here, 3-4 is a waiting, what was it? A waiting 7 into the double combination. Now, if you remember, a lot of the fences from round 1 were coming out of the turn or jumped on the turn. That really put you in a difficult position. You could never really square up. Now, depending on how far this fence 3 sits out of or into the turn, out of the turn, depending on how you want to put it, this is just the same. Can you square up for this oxer? You have to land well and wait for the 7 strides, what I've been told, 7 strides into this double combination. Waiting distance into a combination mark with an oxer to come out always requires a lot of power. So keep an eye out for that fence 4B here. Can they find the power? If that is indeed a little bit of a waiting, for some maybe, to land on the inside line at dead 7 strides into the combination. Slightly the same turn that we had from round 1 to an upright now at fence 5 and the rollback to 6. That rollback is also fairly similar to what we had in the first round. Remember that we had this in round 1? Well, now we have this in round 2. Okay, round 1 had a very specific line. It was a line from the Global Champions Gate after the rollback. We're here also after the rollback. Then 6 strides to the oxer and 3 strides to the plank on top. Remember? Well, here we've got not a full rollback, but a 180-degree turn. Not 6, but 7 strides on the bend. There is more bend in this line than there is in the first round. And then 3 strides to fence number 8. Now, there's a few things that you have to keep in mind about this line. Inside line, outside line really has a lot of impact on this approach. But if you see what sits here, this is a big video wall, and this line isn't parallel with the edge of the ring. It's actually going towards the edge of the ring and towards the video wall. That's a very difficult line to jump in my opinion, Mark. Not having walked it, just looking at what has been designed on this 3D animation. Then we've got 9 to 10. That was, I have to think back, that was 7 or 8, I believe. 7 or 8 into the Liverpool oxer, and then a very interesting final line. Now, I've heard different opinions from different riders so far. There's the big triple combination by Hospitality, and then the last bending line to fence 12, so no 13 fences, same in round 1 and round 2, so only 12 fences. It's a little bit lighter than often and much lighter than we had in Madrid, but also fence 12 jumps towards that video wall. Now, at some point, horses will have to get used to it, but what is the problem here? You hear it's a very flat 6 or it's waiting 7 on the outside. Now, what's it going to be? Depending on how big this oxer is, how tight the time allowed is, and how you come out of that triple combination, on a split second, you'll have to make a choice. But it'll be difficult for horses to lock onto that fence, to come off the leg, to find their balance, and to jump into the corner and towards that video wall. So if Philipp Schulze-Tophoff says that he really likes this course much better than the first one, then I do want to believe him, but I also hope for him that he's going to jump a clear over this one. But from what I see, there are a few traps in this course, Mark. There are a few questions that you do need to answer, and a few puzzles that need to be laid out. It's not an easy fix, and I'm not going to say how many clears we're going to get in round 2, but the clears that will be jumped will be very valuable on first sight, based on what I have here and what I've heard from Bordeaux and from the riders.
Oh, I love that word that you used there today, Frederick. Puzzle. It does kind of feel as if Gregory Bordeaux is trying to move those puzzle pieces. As you say, are we now talking about a waiting 6? Is it a 7? Using the LED board, using those combinations. Bordeaux using every piece of the puzzle to put together this Global Champions League round 2 course, which is going to be jumped in a few moments' time. A big surprise from GCL round 1, perhaps, was that of Valkenswaard United, the most successful team in Global Champions League history, haven't been able to win the title for some time now. They come into today with a debutant in Oliver Lazarus, who perhaps there were some question marks. Well, he proved all of the naysayers wrong, had just a single fence down, combined with a time penalty of between Tops Alexander. Valkenswaard United find themselves as the 3rd last team to go on a combined score of 5. We caught up with Lazarus to find out how his round 1 went and maybe what to expect in GCL round 2.
Thanks, Mark. We're down here in the ring with Ollie Lazarus of Valkenswaard United. Ollie, you make your seasonal debut. First of all, how do you feel about that?
Oh, super happy, super proud. Really proud of my horse, because it's also his debut today in the 160s, second 155, and to go in and make it just feels so easier. So a pleasure.
You've just walked the course a couple of times with Jan Tops himself. What were his wise words?
He just says be patient. You know, this ring rides really quick. It's a big ring, but actually rides small, like an indoor. There's a few taller verticals. I don't think it's maxed out the course today, but you're going to see faults everywhere. So I think it's a course of patience.
You say about faults everywhere. It was one of those first rounds as well, but Valkenswaard very much put themselves in the mix. Obviously, big hopes of big points here.
Yeah, we always hope. I mean, there's always a bit of pressure riding for Valkenswaard, you know, because they expect, but it's cool to have Jan and Edwina and the whole team. It's full of experience. So for someone like me, it's just epic to be around and listen and try and gain some advice from them.
Ollie, have a great round. Enjoy it, and good luck to the team. Mark, Ollie and Valkenswaard look ready to go and potentially get some big points here in Paris.
Right, thank you very much, Dan Strange. Interesting perspective then from Oliver Lazarus, who talks about being patient. Apparently that's the advice of Jan Tops, who walked the course with him. What to expect in GCL round 2? Well, be patient, use your time. The fences come incredibly quick to you. So be patient is the advice from Jan Tops to Oliver Lazarus, who along with Edwina Tops Alexander will once again jump for Valkenswaard United in round 2 coming up shortly. Well, let's take a look at the standings. Remind you then as to how things shape up here at the end of GCL round 1 going into GCL round 2. It was the Doha Falcons that find themselves in the leading position. They will be the last team to go based on that very, very good 4. Canstars in second. And Stockholm Hearts, the championship leaders, well, they'll be hoping for a fence to fall for Valkenswaard Cannes and Doha to try and help them further up to protect their lead. Madrid Emotion with that first round 20. Well, that won't be very good for them. Rome Gladiators, Mexico Amigos, and even the Istanbul Warriors all finding themselves on scores of 20. And the Shanghai Swans, more difficulty in 2024 for them. And New York Empire, well, first round elimination, Scott Brash having 2 refusals in the opening round. That means that the day is done for them. Well, let's go through to the live performance. Let's go into the ring. This is Paris Stage 8. This is Global Champions League Round 2. And this is GCTV.
River, because there in the background is the financial heart of Paris, but also there is the Eiffel Tower. There she is, the Eiffel Tower. Showers on the forecast, but so far we have kept it fairly dry this afternoon. Now we hope to do so for the next, the next 3 hours. There is a Grand Prix qualifier coming up for tomorrow's Grand Prix, of course. That qualification round is built by Grégory Baudon. It is a round with 45 riders in this class. That means that 5 will fail to qualify for the Grand Prix. And 5 will not make the cut. This is a look at the warm-up. This is, I think, the main grandstand on the long side of the arena. It's very much a replica of the layout that we have at the base, at the foot of the Eiffel Tower. Same tent structure, same look and feel, just the Eiffel Tower is a little bit further away than previously. Those were the boys from Doha Falcons. They are actually last to go later on in the team competition, the second round of GCL, of Global Champions League. And this is a different view. Let's have a look at the starting order. Skau has come off the team of Istanbul Warriors to compete as individual. Dan Farrington with his only horse here with Myla. Then Watle, Mansour, Burton, Pizarro, De La Serre, Whittaker with Q Paravati. Then Lambre, Brash, Smith. Why Brash and Smith? Well, because the Global Champions League team, New York Empire, is eliminated from the first round. They will not compete in the second round. Allen has come off the team with Lukaku, will compete as individual. And then from Jean Sadran and Christian Amann, those will be riders competing in Global Champions League colors. So 45 in total on the list. That means that, as said, 5 will not make the cut. And that we will have 19 individuals, including those 2 riders from the New York Empire squad. Those will be Scott Brash and Spencer Smith. Start of the individual qualifier with Lady Corlina and with Christian Skau. Skau, who at the moment is actually very well positioned in global champions standings. He is number 6 on the launching Global Champions Tour. With Gilles Thomas, Michael van der Vleuten, Christian Koekoek and Max Kuhner all in front of him, not present. It's gonna be, it can become a great weekend for the Dane. Aznar, championship leader, is present. Lady Corlina by Kaziro Korlensky and Landor, bred at the Zozat family, where Kaziro was at stud. Hendrik Zozat rode Kaziro, a son of Cassini and Landgraaf. Oh, that's a flimsy fence right there. Ooh, and 3 are short. Upright of Metro. Oof, and she really, at the moment there, as if she lost her balance, she moved forward to the front rail. Tries to create the jump. And the 6 are a long way to that final fence. It's 8 penalties for Andreas Skau. We'll have to wait and see how that plays out for him in terms of qualification. Andreas Skau with Lady Corlina in this Grand Prix qualifier. And the first man to go. A first taste for Farrington of Paris. He's got big ambitions here in a few weeks' time. Now with the Myla. The mare by Crunch and Quadros. Myla lately in incredible form. Last week, big winner of the Grand Prix, 4-star Grand Prix in Centaur Park. Winner of a big class in Eindhoven. You see that very late, that red oxer. Nice and tight turn in front of fence 12. He makes it 7, not 8. It's a very smooth run from Kent Farrington. Very easy, very light. That's a deep stride. But it's double vertical to come out, so no problems. And he waits and adds a stride. And is then home on clear. What did you expect? Kent Farrington goes clear inside the time. Time allowed is 72 seconds and Farrington finishes 67.87. And so plenty of margin for Kent Farrington. Job done. That's the Saturday for Kent Farrington. Grégory Watley here with Burgos du Parc. By Caprice Boismargot, de stallion Canan en Ukaze. The line of the great mare Ross. Ooh! Oh, and he keeps going. Can he stretch out of that combination? Yes, he can. Turkish Airlines demolished. And Watley on 4 penalties. Just a 4 at Turkish Airlines. We'll see in the replay what exactly happened there. but not phased at all there, Bogos du Parc. And brings Kent Farrington home in the end, not Kent Farrington, Gregory Watley in the end on just 4 penalties, 68-9-0. And there again, a little bit spooky there, Bogos. Second place at the moment. And what exactly happened? Oh yeah, that's a rider's mistake. You will not see that happen very often with Waterloo. But he saw a long shot, which was probably too flat, and then in the end changed his mind to add a stride, and then he was on a half stride. In the meanwhile, Yuri Mansour with the QH Alphonse Santo Antonio. Nice 6 into the combination. Slightly waiting 6. This comes up very quickly, and if you come a little bit quiet out of that turn, the horse handles it really well, but it's quite a stretch that you need to come over that oxer if it's on that waiting approach. And not so flat for him. Steady 6 in 68.09. Track much more jumpable than the first round of GCL. And the fist from Yuri Mansour and QH Alphonse Santo Antonio. Their only class for the weekend, and straight away qualified for the Grand Prix. Good clear. A second, no, not even a second, it's less. It's 0.2 of a second slower than Kent Farrington. Time allowed, just as a reminder, 72 seconds. Australia's Christopher Burton with the Chattington Hazy Tulana. Man by Toulon, and former ride of Edwina Topt-Alexander, but also of Mark Houtzager. On 9. The pale colored oxer at 2. Here's Turkish Airlines. Comes out with a good swing, that's nice. It depends, for some it's a swinging 6 into the combination, others get a little bit stuck. With that turn of Burton, you get a bit more swing over the red oxer. 7 in, this might get a little bit tight. Well jumped, well jumped. Easy Tulana. Out of a mare by Indorado. Still clear there. The eventer turned show jumper. The same trajectory as Peder Fredriksson. There comes Burton on a clear and qualified. That'll be his first ever launching Global Champions Tour Grand Prix in 24 hours time. Christopher Burton and Hazy Tulana, Chattington Hazy Tulana, jump clear for Australia. And there's a smile on his face. Here, with this camera angle, you can see it goes a little bit wider. That makes the turn, the radius, the angle of the turn wider, more open, so he can keep the rhythm more easily. And straight on with Niklas Pizarro and Pia Contra. First fence down and then a little bit tensed, it seemed, in the approach to 2. on the back foot, with the pressure now on his shoulders to qualify for the Grand Prix. Pizarro and Piacontra. There goes the back rail. And it was a sticky landing, and he really had to ride for those 3 strides. He's on 8 penalties now. Same score as Skou. Skou, 67.62 seconds. Flies over the Liverpool. Final line now to come. And he goes for the extra stride on 7 and has it down on the extra step. He just makes the time allowed, but the extra stride brings him a touch deep, and he punches the front rail, puts him on 12, and he's last at the moment. 6th out of 6, unfortunately, Nicolas Pizarro with the Piacontra, 69.34 seconds. Arioto du Gèvres with Marc Dilasser. Arioto, the question that we should ask Mike Kawai, would be Japanese for to be present, to be aware. Now let's see how this 14-year-old French-bred gelding by Diamant de Sumilly and Calisco is. Owned by Marc Dilasser's sponsors, supporters, the Haras du Gèvres. Very awake, very aware, very present, this Arioto du Gèvres. Wow, that's a great round. Wow, that's a great round from Marc Dilasser and Arioto. Clear in time, fastest run, 64.29 seconds. Beautiful clear from Marc Dilasser. And that would mean that he would be very, very late to go in the Grand Prix. Keep in mind that he is 3.5 seconds faster than Ken Farrington and than Yuri Mansour. What a run from Marc Dilasser. Standings, 4 clears. Next is Jack Whittaker with Equine America Q Paravati N. After a few weeks under the saddle of Father Michael Whittaker, now back with Jack. There goes the back rail on a waiting distance, I think, into the combination. Oh, that was a little tap on the vertical. And now with a single fence down, it's 4 penalties. 67.82. That should do it for Jack Whittaker for tomorrow's Grand Prix on Equine America Q Paravati N. After the 4 clears, he is the fastest on 4 penalties, faster than Gregory Watle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And it's a front leg. It's a front leg that caught that back rail. There. Santiago Lambre, the Brazilian, with Zeus. Zeus by Cartogran, Chaco Blue, and Continue. And if you hear Continue in the pedigree of a Paul Schockemöller horse, for breeders that always rings a bell, and you always wonder, is it Georgia, that Continue mare? And in this case, it is Georgia indeed. Georgia is the granddam of Zeus, and Georgia is the mother of Balou de Reventon, Balou du Rouet, and Chatignou. 3 great spoiled horses and breeding stallions. And there's the front rail at the Liverpool for the big-bodied Zeus by Cartogran. Second one now puts a mortgage on his chances to qualify for the Grand Prix. He's a bit faster than Andreas Kahn. That puts him in 7th at the moment. Santiago Lambre has 2 riders behind him. He needs 5 behind him to qualify for the Grand Prix. Santiago and Zeus, ladies and gentlemen. On 7 on the inside and still too close. Scott Brash comes in with Hello Valentino, not in his New York Empire outfit, but as individual, because the team is eliminated following his performances with Hello Vittoria. Brash with his gelding now by Diamantino and Careful. Did Valentino look at the Liverpool after the next 3 strides, or did he slow down in the air for other reasons? In any case, Brash is on 4 penalties as the back rail went. Quietly comes into the triple combination. One down, 4 penalties, 68.62 seconds. Brash is 6th at the moment, just behind Jack Whittaker. 2nd slower than Jack, but faster than Lambre and then Gregory Watle. 4 clears, then Whittaker, and now Brash in 6th place. Smith follows his teammate. Scott Brash first, then Spencer Smith. Smith on HHS Seattle. The Hughes horse stud. Gelding by Pacino. We jumped a great Shanghai Grand Prix. And now looks to repeat tomorrow in that Grand Prix here in Paris, the 8th one of the season. Ooh, the 6 got long, but he is home on clear. And Spencer Smith has qualified for the Grand Prix. That is the second American. Following Ken Farrington, now also Spencer Smith on HHS Seattle. Comes together nicely for Smith. It's a peculiar horse. He's got his own style. It's a big horse. He's got this classic jump. But he's becoming very reliable for Spencer Smith. And here, the pair that posted the fastest time in the Grand Prix qualification by the Côte d'Azur. Of course, I'm talking about Saint-Tropez, where in the Grand Prix qualifier, this pair was the fastest. It didn't result in a great performance in the Grand Prix. Unfortunately, they had to retire. But Philippe Rosier and Dirty Sweet have been showing good form lately. Rider in a hackamore allows him to help her a bit more than with a normal mouthpiece. And again, he's on a really fast run. He's on a run to improve on the 64.29 of Marc Dilasser. Dirty Sweet and Rosier, are they going to do it again? Are they going to pull it off again? It seems so. They're going to overtake Dilasser. Look at that, 63.76. They have just gone and done it again. Could it be, would it be, that Philippe Rosier is going to start both the Saint-Tropez and the Paris Grand Prix in pole position as last man to go? Another perfect run from Rosier and Dirty Sweet. Pandora Boyzet, now to a much younger rider than Philippe Rosier. It is Brazil's Luis Felipe Neto de Azevedo. And he's on Pandora Boyzet. And has an early fault at 2. Quite tight coming in, needs a push to come out, and does that really well, Pandora Boy by Presley Boy. The first time, I believe, that the Red Ox falls. And did you see how that horse landed in those 3 strides? And for an instant there, it looked as if he ducked his head and looked down at the Liverpool, but then carried on. But it shows sometimes how Liverpool in a technical line can play out. And through the center line on 6, I was about to say he comes home on 8, but it is 12 as Pandora Boy jumps to the inside and adds 4 penalties to the score of Luis Felipe Neto de Azevedo. The bad news is 13 have jumped, and 13th he is ranked at the moment. And so his Grand Prix qualification threatened because of the 12 penalties. And an early fault for Antoine Herman, and that with Comic Star, the young Frenchman. Goes wide here, takes his time, because the 72 seconds have proven generous. And there, it's a light fault for Antoine Herman, but also light faults count and are transferred into 4 penalties. And for Herman, that is now 8. Nice and straight, but a big bang on the back rail, that is still up, correct through the triple. And time-wise, oh, he ranks behind the Azevedo, because for him also at the end it becomes 12, and he is a second and a half slower than the Azevedo. He is just a quarter of a second inside the time allowed. Antoine Herman with the Comic Star. Start for Aurélien Leroy with Vendôme Dick. Vendôme city in France, in a triangle between Le Mans, Tours and Orléans. Seven, stretching over that oxer. Vendôme out of the dam line of the brilliant Cassini. Working, still clear. Vendôme by Arco and Chin Chin. Vendôme Dick clear with Aurélien Leroy. And the French in excellent form in this qualifier. Rosier leads, Dilasser is second, and Aurélien Leroy has posted the 6th best results. That is guaranteed of his spot in the Grand Prix tomorrow afternoon. Aurélien Leroy with Vendôme Dick. The mare by Arco and Chin Chin.
And how can you do this? And how if you
And straight away to Harry Allen with Lukaku van de Bisschop. Lukaku, striker of the Belgian team. And here Lukaku, the older brother of Moya van de Bisschop, of Nicolas Philippaerts, both bred out of the same mare. And that mare a sister of Action Breaker. And if I wasn't clear enough with striker of the Belgian team, I do mean football. And AS Roma. Wow, Harry Allen is flying through this course of Bordeaux. The time 63.76 of Rosier stands, but this is going to be faster. This is better. Wow, Harry Allen 61.48. Look at that. How many years ago is it? 9 years ago, his brother Bertram won the Grand Prix in Paris, and since then is the youngest ever LGCT Grand Prix winner. And Harry Allen, who jumped his first Grand Prix in his career on the Tour in Doha, well, he's going to jump a second one tomorrow, and he will be very late to go. 61.48. My. Standings. The French now beaten by young Harry Allen. Natalie Dean, this weekend no part of CanStars, powered by Iron Dames. Dean with Akota M as individual. Oh, nice and steady. This goes well for Dean and Akota. And Dean is always fast. She is naturally a fast rider, has natural fast horses. That's a big stretch. She can't override the triple combination. It's not impossible to jump, on the contrary. But she can't come flying in. You have to treat it with respect, and she does that. Does that indeed. Final fence. Good clear, Natalie Dean, 66.82. And it is not as fast as Alain Rosier and De La Serre, but the third American to qualify is the fastest American to qualify. 66.82. Natalie Dean and Akota M have just gone clear and are fourth at the moment in the standings. And they keep bringing French riders. Here is Julien Gonin. And Gonin is on Vallou du Lys. Like Alvaro and Galoubet. It's a smart move, kept a good rhythm, went a bit wider, but didn't lose any time because of the good rhythm of Gonin. And we'll go from Julien to Julien in a minute. Oh, with the front leg, kind of rolled that top rail out of the cup. He rolled it at the top. And so Valoudulis and Julien Gonin on a very fast fall. 65-8-1, where do they go? They are 10th at the moment, guaranteed to compete in the Grand Prix. And I just see that Andreas Skau still only has 3 riders behind him. So Skau with what seems in the end to be a fairly slow 8. Skau could risk not qualifying for the Grand Prix. That's at least how it looks at the moment. Last of the individuals is Julien Anquetin with Blood Diamond Dupont, another French rider, and of course part of the Istanbul Warriors powered by Carpe Diem. Oh, and it's another fast run, a typical fast run of Blood Diamond, and he does it again. A very fast clear, a fraction slower than Harry Allen, but the French really giving riding lessons for free here at the event in Paris. Anquetin, Rosier, Dilasser, Leroy, Gonin. Outstanding performances, and that promises the very best for tomorrow. And these crowds are enjoying every bit of it. 19 individuals have jumped, and a few are in trouble, and I'm thinking of Andreas Skau mainly, to qualify for the Grand Prix. As it stands, it is Harry Allen who leads. Julien Anquetin just took second place, then Rosier, then Dilasser, Dean, Farrington, Mansour and Smith. The top 8. Also Aurélien Leroy and Christopher Burton, the Australian, have gone clear. And the fast 4 for Valoudulis and Julien Gonin, and then Jack Whittaker, Scott Brash and Watelet. And there he is on 8 penalties. Andreas Skau, as you see, he needs a few on slow 8s or higher scores than 8. Skau to qualify for the Grand Prix. As we're going to close here and switch to Global Champions League, because the second is about to start. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Paris. It is the second round of Global Champions League that is going to start in the Bois de Bourgogne, the Parc Bagatelle, not at the foot of the Eiffel Tower. No, we're at a different venue this weekend here in this stunning city that keeps surprising and that will surprise sports fans across the globe in a few weeks' time. Now, mainly focusing on show jumping fans because we are in the Bois de Boulogne, and at the edge of the Bois de Boulogne there's various sporting activities. At the edge of the Bois de Boulogne you find Roland Garros. In the Bois de Boulogne you find the famous racecourse of Longchamp, of Auteuil, and of course also this field that for now functions as home of Global Champions League and launching Global Champions Tour, at least for this year. Next year we'll go back to the tower that you saw there in the background, the Eiffel Tower. We are not going to stay here for the rest of our days. No, this is a temporary venue. This is how the league stands going into the second round, and after the stage in Cannes 2 weeks ago, Stockholm Hearts with a 1-point lead over Cannes Stars, then Madrid with a 1-point lead over Riesebeck International. The tie between Valkenswaard and Mexico, and down below the situation difficult for New York Empire, Monaco Aces, Shanghai Swans and Scandinavian Vikings, and things have gotten even more difficult for New York Empire because the elimination of Scott Brash in round one meant the elimination of the team for the entire stage. The leading three teams are Valkenswaard, Cannes and Doha. Valkenswaard United with Dwina Tops-Alexander on Corelli de Mies, with Oliver Lazarus on Conbaltago. They come out with 5 penalties. A time penalty for Dwina Tops-Alexander, a jumping penalty for the South African. Cannes Stars with 4 for Sophie Hinners. And that was Hinners on Special Life, and she stays with Special Life, but it was the clear from Katin Eckermann and Chao Li. But the leading team, they were 3 seconds faster than Cannes Stars, powered by Iron Dames, with the Doha Falcons. The Falcons led due to the great results of Jérôme Guéry. For him it was a very fast 4 penalties, and Anquetin jumped the much needed clear. A very, very difficult first round, is very fair to say. And that first round threw out some very surprising results. The biggest surprise, of course, the elimination of New York Empire, powered by Lugano Diamonds. But there was more. Plenty of teams with very high scores. As it stood after round 1, Falcons and Stars on 4, then United on 5, Hearts already on 8, the championship leaders, and then Riesenbeck and the Lions on 12. Vikings, not a bad performance at all, on 13. Aces 16, and look at that, 4 teams on 20, including number 3 of the championship, Madrid in motion. Shanghai Swans will be first to go as New York Empire are eliminated, but the Shanghai Swans will start with a score of 24. In order to improve on their situation or on their position, they need to conquer this course built by Grégory Baudon. And Baudon starts fair. Out of the turn, global champions upright. And then on stride, depending on how you're striding on the horses. Over to fence 2. Roll back to Turkish Airlines. And then depending on how you land and how you come in or out of the line, it's 6 strides into the combination. Heart to heart is a normal 6. If you come on the inside, you could get stuck on a deep 6, of course. After the combination, single standing upright at fence 5, but it's the base that you want to use in the line from 4 to 5 and 5 to 6 that becomes crucial. Here you see a slightly wide turn, and that gives you the opportunity to keep rhythm. If you keep a tight turn, then you lack rhythm over the Oxer, but also into the next line. 7 strides to 7, and then 3 strides to a Liverpool vertical towards the TV screen. There's another rollback as you cut inside to Le Métro by the Eiffel Tower. And then a choice of 7 or 8 strides to the Oxer before entering the final line of this course. And that's the line of the Global Champions League triple combination. That's Oxer, vertical, vertical. Not excessively large, not excessively tall. 1 stride and 1 stride. The double of uprights could be the biggest problem, and the main thing is to keep your rhythm under control before coming into the triple. But then you need to accelerate. Or a short striding horse does an outside 7, but most will do an inside very forward 6 to the final fence. And the time allowed, by the way, is set and etched at 72 seconds. Gregory Baudon is the course designer, and he has built this course. Here, the starting order. How are we going to kick off? Well, we start with the Shanghai Swans, where both Sadran and Alman have gone to different horses. They carry 24 from round 1. Istanbul Warriors, powered by Carpe Diem. It's Olivier Robert who comes in, replacing Andreas Kau. CI has changed horses. They start with 20 penalties. Then Mexico Amigos, also on 20. De Menezes comes in. Kawai goes out. Peter Steiner to a different horse. Also 20 for Rome Gladiators, powered by ClipMyHorse.tv, where Kutcher for 16 in round 1 stays on. De Luca goes to a different horse. No Richard Howdy. Then Madrid in Motion, with Aznar going to Legend and Bost going to Delve de Dena. Also 20 for them. 16 for Monaco Aces, powered by Line of Porches. Cotard makes a horse change, and so does Luis Felipe de Azevedo. Horse changes for Johann Sebastian Gulliksen. Vikings on 13. And then Prague Lions, powered by Czech Equestrian Team. It was another clear from Lady van der Harterhoeve from Fernando Martinez Sommer. They stay together. Kelnerova is replaced by Bruinseels. Kelnerova was for 12 in round 1. Riesenberg also for 12, where McMahon stays on Cornest. He was there for 12. The clear of Harry Allen is replaced by Philip Schulze-Tophoff. Stockholm Hearts, where the brothers change horses. They come in on 8 penalties. It was 4 each in round 1. The time penalty of Edwina Tops Alexander goes to the faster fellow Castlefield. Lazarus stays with Combaltago. Can Stars, powered by Iron Dames. 4 penalties for them. Hinders with Special Life. Eckermann to Kalamandia. And then Doha Falcons. Well, Doha Falcons have a newcomer. It is Michael Pender on Calais. Jérôme Guéry to Carreca LS Elite. And so that is the starting order. Those are the scores from round 1. And there is the first team already for this second round of stage 8. And if you missed it, well, the transfer window, the deadline for the transfers has been met. The transfer window is closed. That was in the beginning of the week. And so after Paris, the transfers will be announced. Which team has made a rider change? Have they been shopping? Have they been looking for horses, riders in other teams, or have they found new gems? Let's see if Shanghai Swans have done some shopping. They do need a bit of motivation, a boost. Jean Sadran is on Dexter de Kerglen. Sadran for 8 in round 1 with Cosmo of de Bourne. Now with the top horse. She's stuck. Was a little bit too much on the inside and then stuck on the 7 strides. However, still clear this time around, Jean Sadran. Time's good for Sadran. Clear Jean Sadran with Dexter de Kerglen. And how desperate that they need clears. Might come too late with the 24 still on the board, but hey, there's 4 teams coming up in a minute, all on those 20 penalties. And if Alma does his job, well, then the Swans can move up a bit on the stage ranking, maybe even on the general ranking. Jean Sadran with her first clear of the season. And here is then Christian Alman, who will be looking for his second clear out of 8 rounds. He's on Mandato van de Neerheide. Also very much on the angle and risking a cheap rail there, Alman. And there it goes. Try to help him. And the Shanghai Swans add 4 penalties to their results, making it 28 in the end. And so the next teams to come have an 8 penalty margin on the Swans, slightly long to the Liverpool.
A difficult day for the Shanghai Swans. They finish on 28 penalties overall in Global Champions League from Paris. If you want to continue watching the round, if you want to see Olivier Robert come out for the Istanbul Warriors, powered by Carpe Diem, sign up for your GCTV Live Pass now and join us for the rest of the action live from Paris here on GCTV.